The Amazon. 6 million square kilometers of untouched wilderness, the lungs of the earth. At least that's the story. But wilderness isn't untouched when humans have lived here for 15,000 years, when you can see their work from space. 450 geometric structures, circles, squares, earthworks covering areas larger than cities, built 2,000 years ago by people who weren't supposed to exist. Today, 400 tribes, 300 languages. One impossible question: how do you master what's designed to kill you? To answer that, you need to understand just how impossible this place really is. Rainfall: 3,000 millimeters per year. London gets 600. 5 times more water falling from the sky every single day. Humidity locked at 100%. Your lungs never dry. Your clothes never dry. Metal rusts. Wood rots. Fabric molds. Everything decays in weeks. 2.5 million insect species, 430 mammals, 378 reptiles. 1 in 10 species on Earth lives in this single forest. And most of them bite, sting, poison, paralyze. The Amazon isn't just a forest. It's the most hostile environment humans have ever called permanent home. But here's what they don't tell you. For 15,000 years, humans haven't just survived here, they've thrived. They created super soil that modern science still can't replicate. Terra preta, Amazon dark earth, 10 times more fertile than the clay beneath it, still productive 2,000 years later. We have no idea how they made it. They didn't clear forest, they engineered it. Forest gardens with multiple canopy layers, food plants disguised as wilderness. What looks wild to outsiders is actually cultivated. 15,000 years of careful design. Over 1,300 medicinal plants. 80% of rainforest medicines used today were discovered by indigenous people first. What pharmaceutical companies call discoveries are actually translations, ancient knowledge repackaged. But numbers don't survive jaguars. Knowledge does. And knowledge lives in people. Meet Tayra, 12 years old, learning 200 plant names her grandmother knew, climbing 60-foot trees with a blowgun, mastering skills that take botanists' PhDs to understand. Kanari, 34, river guide, reading water the way you read text, navigating 1,000 kilometers of shifting channels in complete darkness. No GPS, no sonar, just pattern recognition learned before he could walk. And Elder Page, 67, keeper of 500 plant medicines, speaking a language only 300 people understand, racing time to transfer 10,000 years of knowledge before it goes silent. Same question, different impossible. Tayra's day starts at 5 a.m., not with school, with class. Her classroom has no walls, no desks, just 390 billion trees, and a test that could save your life. This is Yawanawa territory, 1,200 people, a language called Yawanawa mixed with Portuguese, and knowledge that Western botanists spend decades trying to learn. Dawn mist rises through the canopy. Roosters call. Tayra emerges from the maloka, the communal house where 3 generations sleep under one roof. Her grandmother is already waiting at the forest edge. No books, no backpacks, just a basket and a question. The grandmother stops at 2 plants, almost identical leaves, same height, same green, growing side by side. One leaf treats snakebite, the other is a paralytic toxin. Death in 20 minutes. Which one? The grandmother asks. This isn't botany class. This is survival curriculum. By age 15, Yawanawa children know 200 medicinal plants, 50 edible plants, 30 poisonous plants that look like food, fish behavior patterns, weather prediction signs, animal tracking markers. What takes Western scientists' PhDs to understand, these children learn by not dying. Today's lesson is Barbasco fishing. Tayra crushes specific vine roots into a shallow river pool. The water clouds white. This vine makes fish dizzy, Tayra explains. They float up. We collect them. Fish surface, disoriented. Tayra moves quickly with her basket, collecting what her family needs for the week. But she doesn't take them all. Never take all, she says. River needs to breathe. Barbasco vine contains rotenone, a natural insecticide that temporarily paralyzes fish gills. Western science discovered it in 1848. The Yawanawa discovered it thousands of years earlier. But notice what Tayra does that science textbooks don't teach. She leaves some fish, takes only what's needed, manages the resource for next time. Sustainable management isn't a modern concept. It's how you survive 15,000 years in a place that could kill you in 3 days. Terra and her grandmother sit by the river, watching the water clear again. In my time, all children learned, the grandmother says. Now, Tayra pulls out her smartphone. Satellite internet reached their village 2 years ago. Schools teach Portuguese now. Jobs exist in towns 3 days downriver. My friends want to leave, Tayra admits. They say this knowledge is old. The grandmother takes Tayra's young hands in her weathered ones, hands that have identified 10,000 plants by touch alone. Old is not the same as dead. The forest is the same. Only we forget. Tayra is learning 2 worlds now, the forest and the phone. Traditional blowgun skills and digital literacy. Plant names in Yawanawa and Portuguese vocabulary for high school exams. The question isn't which one she'll choose. It's whether she can bridge both. 3 hours into the forest walk, the test arrives. The grandmother points to the ambiguous leaves from the morning. This one? Tayra examines them closely, touches the texture, brings them to her nose, breathes in. Medicine, she says, confident. Snakebite treatment. Hergon sacha. How do you know? Smell. The poison plant has no smell. This one smells like lemon. The grandmother smiles, pulls Tayra into a hug. 1 test passed. 10,000 more to go. In the Amazon, childhood isn't about protection from the world. It's about becoming fluent in it. Tayra climbs a 60-foot tree like you climb stairs, identifies edible fruit by leaf shape from 50 meters away, knows which snakes to avoid and which snakes avoid you. She's 12 years old, and she already knows what keeps humans alive in the most complex ecosystem on Earth. But mastering the forest is only half the equation, because the Amazon isn't just trees. 60% of the basin is water, rivers that rise 15 meters every year, channels that shift overnight, currents that can flip a boat in seconds. The Amazon River system stretches 6,400 kilometers, 1,100 tributaries, and it moves. If you want to survive here, you don't just learn the land. You learn to speak with water. 2 rivers meet here. Black water, brown water. They flow side by side for 6 kilometers without mixing. Different pH, different temperature, different fish. The Rio Negro meets the Solimois, and the line between them is sharp enough to see from a canoe. For Kanari, this line isn't a curiosity, it's a highway. Kanari is 34, river guide, born on these waters, raised reading currents the way you read sentences, and right now, he's navigating what most people would call impossible. The Amazon River rises 15 meters every year. For 6 months, the forest floor floods. What was land becomes lake. Roads disappear. Landmarks vanish. 350,000 square kilometers transform into aquatic forest. And the forest keeps living. Fish swim through tree branches. They eat fruit falling from canopy. Trees depend on fish to spread their seeds. The river doesn't flood the forest. The river is the forest. Navigate it wrong, and you meet 30 million piranhas. Electric eels that deliver 3,000 volts. Black caimans up to 5 meters long. Kanari has survived them all. Not through luck, through a language most people never learn, the language of water. His trick? He doesn't navigate by sight. Kanari trails his hand in the water. Current tells you depth. Temperature tells you channel. Sound tells you what's hunting. Smooth surface, shallow rocks beneath, boiling water, deep channel, fast current moving underneath, whirlpool forming, submerged log. Steer away immediately. A V-shaped ripple pointing upstream. That's not debris. That's an anaconda. 15 feet long. Hunting mode. Kanari steers wide without breaking rhythm. Modern tour boats use GPS and sonar, electronics that beep and calculate. Kanari uses pattern recognition learned before he could walk. He can navigate 1,000 kilometers of shifting channels in complete darkness, reading temperature changes through his fingertips, listening to current sounds that signal danger, memorizing seasonal patterns that change every year but follow rules older than cities. Because the river isn't a place, it's a conversation. And if you don't speak the language, the river stops talking. But navigation is survival. Mastery is knowing when. Tambaqui fish, Kanari explains. They eat fruit from rubber trees. Only during flood season. 2 months window. Miss it and you starve. He knows 200 species of fish, their migration patterns, breeding seasons, preferred depths, which ones rise during full moon, which ones hide during storms, which ones taste the water temperature and move 3 days before humans notice the change. And he shares. Always. The village gathers as Kanari returns with the day's catch. Fish distributed by need, not by who caught what. Elders first, young families next. Everyone eats. River gives enough for everyone, Kanari says. If you take only for yourself, river remembers. Not superstition, social technology. Communities that share resources survive 15,000 years. Individuals who hoard don't make it past one bad season. But the river language is changing. Illegal gold mining upstream, mercury pollution seeping into tributaries, fish populations crashing in sections that used to thrive, water clarity shifting in ways that don't match any pattern Kanari's father taught him. My father knew this river, Kanari says, quieter now. I know this river. My son. He watches his young son practice reading currents, getting confused by flows that don't behave as expected anymore. My son is learning a different river. Deforestation upstream changes rainfall patterns. Flow dynamics shift. The conversation Kanari has been having for 34 years is becoming a monologue. The river still speaks, but fewer people understand. And what it's saying is changing faster than knowledge can adapt. Still, Kanari teaches. Every morning, his son joins him in the canoe, learning to read ripples, to taste water for silt content, to listen for the specific sound of current hitting submerged rock versus current hitting sandbar. Because knowledge lost in one generation is gone forever. And without someone who speaks river language, the Amazon becomes just water. Dangerous, unreadable, impossible. The river connects everything, carries nutrients, spreads seeds, links communities separated by days of travel. But rivers aren't the only language disappearing. Elder Page knows 500 plants by name. Each name contains usage, dosage, preparation method, moon phase for harvest, song for gathering. He's 67 years old. Spiritual leader of the Huni Queen tribe. Keeper of medicines that pharmaceutical companies spend billions trying to replicate. But there's a problem. Only 300 people left on Earth understand the language he's speaking. This is Hacha Queen, and it's dying faster than the forest around it. Page's medicine garden isn't a garden, it's a library, organized in ways that make sense only after decades of study. This section treats pain, he explains, gesturing to one zone. This section treats infection. This section treats spirit sickness. Western medicine divides illness into categories: physical, mental, separate systems. Page doesn't see separation. Fever comes from body, he says, but also from spirit, from anger, from fear. We don't treat one part, we treat the whole person. One illness, multiple treatments, simultaneously. He demonstrates. Cat's claw vine, bitter when you taste it, treats inflammation. He adds sangre de drago resin. It seals wounds. Then uña de gato leaves for immune response. Together, they talk to each other, Page explains. Alone, they sleep. Synergy. Western pharmacology discovered the concept recently. Published papers, coined terms. Indigenous healers have used it for 10,000 years. 70% of cancer drugs derive from rainforest plants. 80% of those, indigenous people identified them first, showed researchers which plants to study, how to prepare them, when to harvest. The scientists get patents, billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies. The tribes get nothing. Page has one apprentice, 19 years old, learning slowly, hesitantly. My friends went to Manaus, the apprentice admits. Jobs, money. They laugh when I say I'm learning plants. It's not a romantic choice. Traditional knowledge doesn't pay rent, doesn't buy smartphones, doesn't compete with salaries in cities 3 days downriver. Every 2 weeks, an indigenous language dies. With it, thousands of years of accumulated knowledge. Plant names that contain preparation instructions, weather patterns that predict floods, animal behavior that signals danger. In 1950, the Amazon had over 600 indigenous languages. Today, 200. By 2050, projections suggest 50 will remain. Page tries to preserve what he can. Handwritten notebooks fill his shelves. Plant descriptions, preparation methods, medicinal applications. But writing is not the same, he says, touching a leaf with deep familiarity. How do you write the smell that tells you the plant is ready? The color change that happens only at the right moon phase? The sound the wind makes when it's time to harvest? Medicinal knowledge isn't data, it's apprenticeship. 10,000 hours of observation compressed into instinct. The way he knows which plant without looking, which preparation method without measuring, which song to sing while gathering. One lifetime to learn, one generation to lose. But Page's deepest knowledge isn't medicinal, it's spiritual. Tonight, he leads an ayahuasca ceremony. Participants gather, indigenous community members, a few outsiders who traveled weeks to be here, all seeking something Western medicine can't provide. The forest speaks, Page says during preparation, but you must be quiet enough to listen. Ayahuasca, a DMT-based brew used ceremonially for 5,000 years. Modern neuroscience is just beginning to understand its effects on consciousness. Brain scans, clinical trials, peer-reviewed studies. But clinical trials don't capture this. The ceremony that lasts until dawn. Community members supporting each other through visions. Healing that's not individual, but collective. When one person heals, the community heals, Page explains. The forest heals. Ecology, psychology, medicine, spirituality. Western science separates these into departments. Different universities, different experts, different languages. Page sees one system, connected, interdependent, impossible to divide without losing meaning. Something is changing, slowly. Universities partnering with shamans now, not as subjects, as equal collaborators, co-authors on research papers. Recognition that indigenous knowledge isn't folklore, it's science developed through millennia of empirical observation. Page was invited to present at a conference last year. Researchers from 3 continents, listening to a man who never attended formal school describe pharmaceutical compounds with precision that matches their lab results. But he remains uncertain, skeptical. "We will see," he says quietly. Words are easy. Respect is harder. He returns to his garden, teaching his apprentice the difference between 2 nearly identical leaves. One heals snakebite, the other causes paralysis. The same test Tayra faced, the same knowledge Kanari holds about water. Survival information that can't be Googled, can't be learned from books, only from someone who knows, someone who cares enough to teach. And there are fewer of them every year. So what can we learn from those who remain? 3 things the Amazon taught me. 1. Everything connects. Fish eat fruit. Trees need fish. Break one link, the system collapses. 2. Knowledge is survival. Wrong plant means death. Right plant means life. No app for that. 3. Impossible is just unfamiliar. What takes outsiders PhDs takes children 12 years. The Amazon rainforest produces 20% of Earth's oxygen. 6 million square kilometers of green lung breathing for the planet. But that's not its most important resource. Terra will inherit a forest her grandmother wouldn't recognize. Climate patterns shifting, species disappearing, outsiders arriving with chainsaws and promises. Kanari navigates water that changes faster than his memory. Pollution from upstream, illegal mining, rivers speaking a language even he struggles to translate. And Page races time, transferring 10,000 years of knowledge to one apprentice, hoping 300 speakers of Hachaquin becomes 400, knowing it probably won't. The Amazon isn't being lost to chainsaws alone. It's being lost to forgotten languages, abandoned skills, interrupted apprenticeships, knowledge that takes lifetimes to learn and seconds to forget. But some are coming back. Young people returning to villages, learning plant names, reading rivers, sitting with elders before it's too late. Not to reject modernity, to merge it. Traditional knowledge plus modern tools. Ancient wisdom through contemporary channels. The impossible and the everyday, finally speaking the same language. 15,000 years of impossible made normal. One generation at a time. One plant name. One river reading. One ceremony. Same question. Different impossible. What's your impossible? Drop it in the comments. I read every one. Subscribe. The impossible is just getting